So yesterday I got to tell you guys a little bit about how I went to Sledgehammer Games to play DLC 2 early for Call of Duty World War II, and as of this video going live, we already have one map showcase already up, that being for Egypt, which if you guys have not checked that out already, I definitely suggest you go and check it out. We'll be keeping you guys up to date with all the maps all throughout the weekend, so if you guys are interested in that, make sure you stick it right here on the channel. But also earlier today was something that I got to play around with on that build of the game, which you might have noticed some of it, but that is that the game is going to be drastically changing come Tuesday, April 10th, not only just for PlayStation 4 users that get a hold of the DLC, but also overall, because a massive patch is going out across the board for Xbox One, PlayStation 4, and PC users, regardless if you have the DLC or not. This is going to be a change to the fundamentals of the game overall. And to give you guys a little perspective on how massive of these changes they are, we have never seen a fundamental core change to a Call of Duty system in the history of the franchise as big as this. Essentially, there's a massive overhaul of the Division system overall. Some of the things in specifics are completely changed out and reworked. Some things are completely remade, and all that kind of stuff will be debuting here in the video today. But a little fair warning, I can't show menu information or anything like that from what I captured out at Sledgehammer, so a lot of what we'll be talking about in specifics will have just text overlays on the gameplay that you'll be seeing. So unfortunately, I can't give little compare and contrast video footage and B-roll clips like I'd normally like to, but that's something that, again, come Tuesday, you'll be able to see this for yourselves and be able to take a look at it from something that was a day earlier to that updated version for yourselves. So again, just for the sake of getting this out here in the sense of being able to tell you guys and everything, I won't have any specifics to jump back and forth like a before and after type of thing, but we'll be giving you guys all the rundown of everything you need to know. So let's start at the very top. Let's start tip top and then work our way down to individual specific things. Firstly, the Division system overall has been completely reworked, and this is something in which we're going to see fundamental changes on the very basic levels of each individual rank of whatever division you're ending up working on. So to just completely jump into it, the Infantry Division now has a rank 1 of an additional primary attachment, a level 2 perk of a second pistol attachment and the ability to swap weapons faster, a level 3 perk of being able to aim down sights, having less idle sway, and then the 4th and final tier of infantry is to be able to move faster while aiming. As for airborne, well, you're able to fire guns while sprinting and diving, reload while sprinting, climb over obstacles faster with no damage from falling, and also the ability to sprint faster over time. As for armored, you can now take significantly less explosive and fire damage. We'll talk about that in a little bit more because that was actually a buff in the statistical properties for how much you can take. You're also immune to shell shock and tactical equipment. You'll have increased bullet penetration through surfaces and a greatly reduced flinch when shot. So then we move over into Mountain Division, which is now invisible to enemy recon aircraft and controlled streaks. Killed enemies also no longer show death locations. You also get no name or reticle when enemies aim at you, and you can move silently as that final rank in Mountain. As for Expeditionary, we also now have a double lethal and tactical and enhanced equipment use. You can end up replenishing your munitions from killed enemies and over time. And also for level 3, you can end up improving tacticals, and it's easier to destroy war buildables. And the 4th and final thing is that equipment damage paints enemies on the minimap. So that means it's almost its sort of way of using espionage, but not espionage in a sense. The final division that we have is Resistance, which got a massive buff, if I'm honest. You can end up getting minimap indicator and scrambler of close hostiles when you end up getting close to them as that first rank. For the second rank, you end up having enemy movements are easier to hear, so almost an amplify perk for that. Third, you end up getting kills and assists granting intel ping of nearby enemies, which is insanely useful. It's very helpful, and of course, it's almost like that portable radar based off of a kill, and off the top of my head, I can't remember, there was something like that in previous titles that was not a portable radar, but you'll probably see in some of the gameplay that we debut here up over the weekend that I am using Resistance Division, and it's something that really does help out there. And the final thing that you get out of Resistance Division is that it's easier to spot targets and increased minimap coverage. So you have Lookout built in, and also you can end up getting those names showing up very much so easier compared to what it was before. Now, as you can probably tell, there's a lot of things that were not necessarily there compared to what they were before. They added a lot in, and then they also removed a lot of the Division specific attributes that you ended up getting. So say Sharpshooter for Mountain Division, or the Suppressor for Airborne, or the Bayonet for Infantry. Those were actually, those base things were removed and then allowed for more and otherwise enticing pieces of different mechanics of play to be added in on top of that to offer a 4th perk rather than just having that level 1 be a base thing that we've seen just equipped for everything across the board. So that said, those things that were added in are now a part of the different create a class system. So the bayonet is something that is available for rifles in create a class as an attachment. The suppressor is something that is available on SMGs and pistols as an attachment. The incendiary shells is something that is available for shotguns as an attachment. So you can see where this goes now, and it offers up a lot more creative play for the divisions themselves and how they make it more so perk based rather than something that is actually a physical attribute of a weapon or something you could put on it. So there's a lot of stuff that was changed to that division system as a whole, but there's a lot else that was also changed on top of all of that. One of the biggest things you'll probably notice from some of the gameplay up on the channel here over the next couple of days, and of course you'll notice whenever you jump in, is that there's actually now unlimited sprint for World War II coming with this most recent update on Tuesday. That's something in which it's a little bit slower, but you do have the ability to never stop running in World War II. So I think whenever you take a look at the numbers, it's a 1.4 before, but now it's a 1.3 multiplier for the movement speed whenever you actually go and sprint. So it's not much of a decrease, but it is a technical decrease that you might notice, but overall, over the course of time, you'll still be running a lot faster and a lot farther because you have unlimited sprint. But other fundamental changes are still continuing on in this list. We end up seeing a lot more, one being that we end up having 3 primary attachments for all loadouts now, because whenever you take a look at it, primed actually was completely cut, as was the basic training bang, but you have 3 primary attachments now, and infantry will once again automatically give you that 1 as that base level 1 attribute that it gives, so you have 4 for infantry still, but you can now take an extra attachment across the board for all other different class loadouts you have. Launchers can be equipped for all loadouts, not just requiring with the basic training equipped for that one. It can be taken as a regular secondary, so that makes that chrome camo grind a lot easier. You also have the ability to take both a lethal and a tactical for all different loadouts now, and that's something that again is pretty massive when you think about it, at a fundamental change that it was not available at the start of the game, but now we're going to be seeing that transition over to it. The rifle grenade is something that's going to be added in on Tuesday as well, and that's one thing that I see a lot of people worried about, that noob tubes are going to be returning, all that kind of stuff. But again, I've played around a little bit with this, with these gameplays that you'll see throughout the weekend, and I don't think that I have any that I can show right now, but whenever we get to Operation Husky, I know I played around a little bit with that on that map. But from experience here with this and also giving you an honest opinion on it, I honestly wouldn't equip this just other than the fact of testing it out. It's not that great. It's not something that I would be worried about unless you end up landing the grenade at their feet. You're not going to get a one-shot kill. So it's something that's more so a stunning attribute of a weapon attachment rather than an actual lethal thing that is added on top of it. So again, unless you're really in that immediate splash zone damage, you're not going to get a one-shot kill. So it's something that really I wouldn't be too worried about. I think that's being blown out of proportion a little bit. But getting back into the list of other things that we end up seeing, we do have 2 more basic trainings coming this Tuesday with the update as well, to kind of replace that of primed and bang being removed. That starts with the basic training of Blitzkrieg, which gives you the ability to earn kills for your score streaks instead of score, and you also get to take a bonus of a 4th streak as well. So it's very similar to that of the Modern Warfare 3 score streak system or kill streak system, kind of that hybrid there. But again, one thing that I noticed is that it doesn't count captures at the moment for that to increase the score that you end up getting for those score streaks, but it is something that will count kills for a lesser value compared to that of what the score streaks are. So it's kind of a trade-off if you're one that really likes to just slay out instead of playing the objective. That's one way that it kind of accommodates your playstyle, but it is something that will be interesting to see how well it is used and how much it is used in the grand scheme of things. But the other one being Clandestine, which slain enemies then drop intel packs that reveal nearby hostile enemies with a bonus of an intel ping at the start of each life. So that said, I didn't play around with this one too much, so I couldn't tell you offhand the immediate great effects of it, but you do end up getting to see a little bit of where enemies are, and also at the beginning of each life you get that sort of radar ping as well. So they'll definitely be useful in the sense of scouting out players, but I don't know how much they will go in front of some other major meta perks that we have right now in the basic training system. I think the final thing that we'll talk about here within this video, but of course it's not all, so I definitely encourage you guys to go down to the description below and check the link out for the actual full blog post, because there is a lot of technical stuff that honestly I could talk about this for another 10, 15, 20 minutes just talking about every single small detail, which I'll save you guys that. You guys can check it out if you guys want to. But that said, the next thing we're going to be talking about, and the final thing, is going to be that of basic training changes overall, because we talked about the division system being changed, we talked about divisions having basic trainings added and removed, but now there's actually a lot that are completely changed about. So let's start out at the top down here once again with this one. Energetic is being changed, in which it's going to remove the ability that it sprints again sooner and instead adds in the increased sprint speed. So kind of once again tying in with airborne division and a little bit of the sprint attributes with that. The one thing that we did end up seeing kind of become irrelevant is the fact that we can sprint again sooner because you have unlimited sprint. So it's a trade-off that is no longer needed and so therefore is being removed. Forage is then changed, in which it adds the ability to resupply bullets over time, as well as also adding extra magazines at the very start. So taking a little bit of what ended up happening, but also throwing in the old infantry division into that as well. But then it also removes the ability to swap weapons faster. Ordnance added the ability to have killed enemies drop streak packs that fill your score streak meter, and now removes the ability to re-roll your own care packages. Launched allows you to take additional launcher ammunition and removes the only way to take a launcher, that being the only way you can take a launcher. So that basic training is completely reworked in the sense that it can actually offer something of an advantage rather than just being a crutch to use something. Then we end up seeing Concussed adding the ability to take 2 pieces of lethal and tactical equipment, and also removes that of the presetting of what the equipment is. That is what it did before and up until now even. Then we also have Instincts adding the ability to be immune to shell shock and tactical equipment, and an esports only change to remove warning when targeting off screen. So that's something that will still be there for public matches, but in sort of the MLG and league play and ranked play scenarios, that won't be there. And as for other basic training changes, well, there's nothing laid out at the very moment, but with such a major overhaul, it wouldn't surprise me that if there is some pushback from the community, there might be some adjustments in the future made here and there to some maybe lesser basic trainings. But regardless, there is a lot of stuff here to talk about, and again, I could go on for absolute ages talking about every single individual detail and the buff and the nerf of each basic training and the incendiary shells and all that kind of stuff, but I'll leave that to you guys to check out in the description below so I don't keep you too long. But again, this is the biggest patch that we've ever seen in Call of Duty history in the sense of changing fundamental aspects of how the game has been built up until this point in time. So it's going to be absolutely massive. Again, having this experience of playing it for a little bit, it is a completely different but a very good change that we end up seeing with World War II. So it's a completely different game. I think you guys will enjoy it. And that said, I'd love to get your thoughts and feedback down there in the comment section down below. Is there anything in particular that you guys are very like blown away by, in the sense that you're really surprised they changed something, you're surprised they didn't change something? I'll tell you one thing for certain. Whenever we were getting this presented to us before we started capturing for DLC 2, I was sitting next to Exclusive Ace. We looked over at each other. Both of our jaws dropped as soon as they said all these changes. We couldn't believe it. It's massive. So I'm assuming you guys might have some of the same reactions. Feel free to let me know your thoughts down there in the comment section down below. But hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. If you guys did, make sure you drop a like down below. And of course, if you guys are new to the channel, make sure you guys subscribe so you don't miss a single thing regarding Call of Duty World War II. Any best class apps, tips, tricks, and of course, updates like this, we get you covered here up on the channel. So if any of that interests you, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss a single thing. And if you guys want to follow me over on Twitter, that's the best place to get connected from outside of YouTube. Practically live on Twitter, so if you guys want to strike up a conversation, ask me a question, whatever it may be, link is down there in the description below. And finally, if you guys want to follow me over on Instagram, I'm trying to get more active over there as well, so that link is also in the description below. But hopefully you guys are excited for this change coming Tuesday. I know I am, but I'll see you guys later. Thank you all so much for watching. My name's been Espresso. Take care and peace.